No. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are and when you're seeing this. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, and I've got a really bad cold. Hence the topic for today. Excuse me one moment while you know what, I'm not going to even try to adjust that. This is just going to have to be the way things are. If you can let me know that you can see and hear me, I'd appreciate it. And today's topic is keto doesn't fix everything. At least, not entirely. Case in point, the crud, which was a gift my husband brought me from his time away in traveling. So instead of bringing me more jewelry, he brought me the crud. So that's what we've been enjoying. Now, so is this, am I supposed to be um, a proponent for the protocol? Yes or no? I am. And I am a proponent for it for most people, certainly for me, but it doesn't fix everything. And hey, Gels, mommy, good morning. Appreciate you chiming in. So if it doesn't fix everything, what's the point of doing it? Well, okay. You know, there have been people who said, well, if I'm not going to lose a lot of weight fast, what's the point? Well, losing weight slowly is okay. If you lose 30 pounds in a year, but that's not fast enough for you, would it be better to lose 0 pounds in a year or put on 5 pounds in a year? If it's not going to make sure that I'm, never going to get another cold, what's the point? No, it doesn't fix everything. I still have a wonky left eye, which is getting wonkier. And I still got a cold. Pretty bad one, but that's okay. But I'll tell you one thing. I used to get upper respiratory infections 4, 5, 6 times a year. And this is the first time I've had one in over 2 years. Actually, I think my husband brought me back that one as well. I prefer he bring me jewelry. But of course, travel, being in an airplane, an incubus of plague with recirculated air. And he spent 3 days traveling and a lot of time in airports. Anywho, so what's the point if it won't fix everything? If it won't make me lose weight really quickly? If I still have to be careful how much I eat? Yeah, because we do. The protocol does not mean you can eat all the foods you want as long as you lay off the carbs. So, for those of you who are uninitiated, or this is your first time here, I will tell you how I learned the ketogenic protocol and how I have practiced it all these years. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. Total carbs, not net carbs. Why? Because net carbs just means more carbs. So, total carbs. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop eating when you've had enough. And I've added, be patient and persevere. And that's it. Now, that doesn't mean, as long as there's very low carb, just eat and eat and eat. No, that's not what's part of the protocol, because don't eat if you're not hungry is part of it. Sometimes we want to forget that part. Stop eating when you've had enough. We want to forget that part too. There are a lot of claims out there that the ketogenic protocol will cure certain things. I think there was a recent headline like today that the ketogenic protocol will cure some pretty important and devastating conditions, one in particular. I don't know that that's true or not true, but I don't think it makes any more sense to say that the ketogenic protocol will, cure cancer or inoculate you from cancer. Excuse me, I want to make sure. The fact that some cancer cells thrive on glucose is not a new idea. Otto Warburg won the Nobel Prize in 1931, I believe, for identifying this. But it doesn't mean that if you don't eat carbs, you'll never get cancer. It doesn't mean, just because some people's mental health issues might be improved does not mean that the ketogenic protocol is a cure for very serious mental health issues. Maybe can help, won't hurt. But let's be careful. And following the ketogenic protocol will not make your interpersonal relationships better if they start off to not being great. As a matter of fact, it might negatively impact some interpersonal relationships if your relationships are founded on codependency, on let's all be eating, Taco Bell at midnight together. And then you stop eating Taco Bell at midnight and you feel better. Then you lose a bunch of Taco Bell eating friends. The ketogenic protocol will not automatically make you a nicer person. Now, I might cut this session short because I do have the crud. And if I have to sneeze or blow my nose, I apologize. So no, I am not immune to colds. I don't get nearly as many as I used to. Like I said, last time was over 2 years ago. And I am generally in much better health than I was 12 years ago. But it hasn't fixed everything in my life. I'm still really short. I still have, my eyesight is still challenging. I have not put on muscle by following the ketogenic protocol. That has to come through resistance training. And I have to not eat more than I require. I can't just, have a smorgasbord of ribeye and ranch dressing and eat until I pass out. No, that's not going to work either. Okay. I don't know if I'm being 100% coherent. So maybe I'll just turn to what you guys have to say. Maybe you're more coherent. Can you hear the chicks in the background? Probably not, because I have this unidirectional microphone set. But we have baby chicks in the background. We took delivery of chicks on, I think it was Wednesday. They were hatched on Monday, I think. And so we're getting our fresh batch of chicks, and they're back to going cheep, cheep, cheep. So, Avocado Little writes, good morning, and Blackfire Misty writes, good morning from Florida. So apparently iguanas are falling out of the trees in Florida. I know that's happened before. That's a pity. Sorry, that must be weird. We have the cicadas that come every X number of years here, and they will just fall out of the trees, and the ground will be covered with cicadas. I think that's better than dead iguanas. Deb Rundle, morning from Vernon, British Columbia. And Deb Orvol, 9758. Thank you for still doing the video. Prayers for healing from your cold. Thank you. I've got my old man taking care of me. I took care of him. We take care of each other for now. I hope you're feeling better. Thank you. And Linda Bridges, 445. Hello from Texas and Avocado Little. Correcting my vitamin D deficiency has dramatically reduced the amount of colds I get. I haven't been sick in years. Interesting. And Linda Bridges, 445, writes, thank you for being here. Well, thank you for being here. And Blackfire Misty, yes, it's cold here. I haven't seen any by me, meaning the iguanas falling out of the trees. Maui Meadows. Good morning. Greetings from Argentina. Hola, buenos días. ¿Cómo está? Excuse me. So, it's human nature, or at least modern culture, Western culture probably, that we want immediacy. We want an answer to problems. And we want that answer fast. And we want it to be 100%. It's just, there's nothing like that. We are too diverse. Problems that we have are too complex. The ketogenic protocol works if you work it. It won't fix our habitual eating if we don't want to change that behavior. If we don't change the, I shouldn't say don't want to, if we don't change the behavior of eating out of habit or convincing ourselves that we eat to cope with our problems, we use food to cope. We use food to not cope. Keto doesn't fix everything. It takes effort on our part. It takes behavioral changes. You know, doing something 95% of the time might be okay for a lot of stuff, but it really does not work with if you're following the ketogenic protocol. If you have a metabolism like mine, where, I'd become morbidly obese for 30 years. You can go to my blog and see this stuff. Doing it 95% of the time would not work for me. Monogamy doesn't really work if you only do it 95% of the time. And there's certain things you do it, or you don't do it. And it's not that big a deal to lay off the carbs. It's really not. We want to believe it's a huge deal. It's not. It's not that hard. You eat the same food that everybody at the table eats. You just lay off the biscuits and the fries. You eat the chicken and the salad and the asparagus. You just don't have the JCK. Here you go, buddy. Jack is, you can see him back there. Again, I'm not being very coherent. I do apologize. It's not even the cold making me incoherent. I'm just not, I'm not firing on all cylinders. Jell's mommy writes, I do have to say that over the many years I've watched you, I love that you still are able to put your take on keto. The details do not change. I haven't been as active on Patreon or on YouTube. Well, honey, you've had some things going on in your life, haven't you? You got a grandchild to be dealing with. Buenos días y besos. Ay, muchas gracias. Jell's mommy writes, because you are right that the details never changed, but I figured it out that I miss you, and so that's why I've been more active lately. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You don't have to buy anything to be 100% successful on this. 100%. There's not a powder or a pill. There's not a product that you can consume that will make you be a fat burner. The ketogenic protocol, ketogenic means you're in ketosis, which means you're burning ketone bodies or fat for fuel. That happens when you reduce your carbohydrate intake to a level where your liver is not pumping out glucose or sugar for fuel, and our bodies are happy to start burning fat for fuel. Our brains are very happy. You can't tell by me this morning, but my brain functions much better on ketones than on glucose. What was I saying? I can't even remember. See, don't use me today as proof. What made me think about this? Oh, you don't have to buy one thing to be 100% successful. So there are no products. And it's not a high-fat diet. It's not that you're pounding back the fat. I don't care what that person says. If that person is even still around as an influencer, you don't have to choke down 200 grams of fat a day. That's 1,800 calories in fat. That's ridiculous. It's what you don't eat. Lay off the carbs. It's not the fat. It's not the presence of the fat. It's the absence of the carbs. So you don't have to buy anything. Just lay off the carbs. But I will happily sell you merch. Here's a green book, a journal. You can go to my blog and see it it's a link in the sidebar. Go to Amazon. Shirts and mugs. Well, I didn't put them under this morning. Sorry, I'll try to remember later. You can go to my spread shop and caps and stickers and things, and I really appreciate them. And I have a private group on Patreon, link below, where every weekday morning, except for the first time in all these years, a couple of days ago, I didn't have a voice. My voice was gone. So I did not do a pre-recorded video. I've done 2,029 morning snippets, and that was the first one I just wrote instead of talking. Anywho, you can see a link below. There's a free trial. You can do all that. Okay, so anyway. Ronnie Henson 400. Good morning from Ohio. You are a great blessing to me. Listening to you helps me to stay on keto. Thank you, Casey. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we can all help each other. We never know who we might influence. Okay, so keto won't fix everything, but let me tell you what it has done that I have seen in my own life, not only my own personal experience with my health and fitness. There is a person that my husband knows. He's in Colombia, and he's a contractor, and he's been doing stuff, and my husband knew him well. The man became bedridden, and he was told they were going to have to cut off his legs. Amputation due to type 2. And my husband was talking to him on the phone and said, I want you to try something. Just try it. Just try this. And he talked to my husband is an evangelist for keto, much more than I. So anyway, he told this man this. Try it. Well, let me tell you what. That man's going to be building the structure for our new house at La Finquita. Because he not only did not lose his legs, he is not only no longer bedridden, he's back to work. He lost a bunch of weight, and now he's evangelizing in Colombia, trying to get his daughter and his sister to do it, and they're struggling. When my own doctor says, whatever you're doing, keep it up. When my sister-in-law, who has been dealing with cancer that migrated, is told by her doctor a couple of days ago, whatever you're doing, keep it up because that tumor is shrinking. Doesn't mean everything's a cure, but it won't hurt. I don't feel like I'm immune to anything, and tomorrow is promised to none of us. But whatever's going to happen to be will not be because I was cavalier and decided, I'll just go ahead and take insulin, but I'm not going to pass on dessert. Or it's for my body. It's my choice to eat this food. Well, I would be offloading my health issues to someone else later on and to the healthcare system. I'm in kind of a snotty mood this morning, aren't I? No pun intended. Avocado Little. I figured it out. I had to change the chat to show live chat instead of top comments that filters out possible spam. Weird. Okay, I didn't know there was a problem. Okay, yeah. See, a lot of things happen in these platforms, and depending on what device you're on, what operating system you're on, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I always want to show live chat, but some people can't see all the things. But I'm glad you figured it out, Amy. So, does anyone else have something they would like to share? Something that you can't say, well, keto fixes everything, but here's what happened to me? I would love to hear that. Poor old Jack as well. Somebody asked me what Jack thinks about the baby chicks, because we got I'll post a little video. I posted it to the patrons, but I'll post it to everyone. It's like 90 seconds of these chicks in a box. They came through the mail. Jack has zero interest in the baby chicks. Zero. None. We actually held one up and he's like, ugh. these baby chicks are a lot safer with Jack than they would be with our grown chickens. The grown chickens would eat them, would eat these baby chicks, attack them and eat them. Okay, I'm have the sniffles. Okay, no one is sharing anything that has come up for them. That's okay. What else can I tell you? Now, my husband does this, not for weight. He's never had a weight issue. Jerk. And he's very fit. But he heard the lectures I was listening to, not the influencers. This was 12 years ago. I've been doing this for over 12 years. And I didn't do it so that I could start a YouTube channel. Opposite. I don't like being on camera. But I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Oh, by the way, people say, the thing is, keto might work, but it's not sustainable. You know what's not sustainable? Type 2 diabetes. It's bad. Anyway, here are the lectures I was hearing, and he decided he would do it because it made sense. It's logical. Avocado little chickens are brutal, writes Avocado. They are. And they will eat anything. You know what they really like? They like chicken. Our chickens will eat anything other than they don't like citrus. But, and they're little velociraptors if you look at them. They're descended from the dinosaurs. Linda Bridges 445 writes, I just feel better when I stay in the program. I just feel better. And that's enough, right? Forget about weight loss and whether you're wearing a smaller size jeans or whatever. What has happened, and it's pretty documented if you stick with it and do it the way it's designed, not eating keto brownie mix, and because there's not such a thing, that's a lie. Or doing it, Monday through Friday and then eating the way you usually eat Saturday and Sunday, it will reduce A1C, blood sugar. Mine has been totally regulated. I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I'm nowhere near that. My blood glucose average is about 72 now. I test it once a week. Last time I had my A1C checked, I think it was 4.6. And now they don't check it because I'm not at risk for type 2 diabetes. So I also don't get checked for, I don't have a pregnancy test done either because I'm not really at risk for being pregnant. Kay Calla writes, they may be brutal, but they are sure fun and have their own personalities. They absolutely have their own personalities. And you've heard of the phrase pecking order? That's a thing. They figure out there's a hierarchy. And some are more timid and some are more brave, and very interesting. Avocado Little writes, keto/low carb has kept the inflammation in my body nearly below detectable levels, according to my HSCRP. HSCRP? C-reactive protein? And inflammation is like the key, is the core of so many things that are problematic. Everything from skin rashes to ulcerative colitis to acid reflux to joint pain to colds. Now, my body is inflamed right now, but it's supposed to be because it's fighting off a cold. My glands in my neck are the size of goose eggs and hard as rocks, but that's doing what it's supposed to do. Little inflammation to fight off sickness is good. When everything is inflamed, not so good. I like to think of it like a campfire is good. Forest fire, not so much. High sensitivity CRP, C-reactive protein. Very good. Now, Avocado Little, why do you have that tested? Is there like an autoimmune? Well, it's none of my business. HIPAA totally enforced here. But is that something that you have normally checked? Is the reason? Because if mine is checked, I never pay any attention to it. I can tell you one of the first things I noticed when I laid off the carbs, and I'm talking about within days, was my joint pain resolved. All my joints hurt all the time. And one could say, of course your joints hurt. You're a big fat person walking around. Well, okay, that might explain my ankles and knees and hips hurting. Why would my wrist and my fingers hurt? I didn't walk on my hands. It resolved almost immediately. And I've heard from people who have advised that they've been doing low carb, blah, blah, and then they eat a bag of pretzels and the next day everything hurts again. Or they need their emergency asthma inhaler again after not needing it for months. Inflammation. We need a little bit of something that's inflammatory to fight, cuts and disease and stuff. But too much is too much. Linda Bridges 445. I'm 80 and still have a lot of responsibilities, so I have to help me to stand up to them. Okay. Yeah. We have responsibilities. We have responsibilities to ourselves. We have responsibilities to the people around us. And let's make no mistake, unless you are living totally separate from the community, if you get sick, someone's going to be trying to either get you better or transporting you or paying for your medication or worrying about you. And are the Pringles worth it? Are they? I don't think so. I used to, let me tell you what, I ate a lot of food. I would eat in secret. And I would make stabs at, okay, I'm going to do juicing. I'm going to do vegetarian. I'm going to, concentrate on this. I'm going to do low fat, move more, eat less. I try, like all of us. I've tried it. And I knew low carb worked for me since 1977. But it wasn't until 2014 when I just really started it for reals. Avocado Little writes, because I have high LDL and my doctor does backflips about it, I've learned that heart disease is driven by inflammation and high glucose. So as long as my inflammation and glucose are low, yeah. And here's another thing. I don't care about my LDL. I also have the big fluffies and not little dense LDL. I talked about that last week, I think. Yeah. LDL, everyone gets, the doctor. Dr. Westman has said, oh, poor Jack. He just thumped down. Because I used to do support group meetings with him. And someone said, my doctor is very concerned about my cholesterol if I do this. And Dr. Westman said, tell your doctor to take a Valium. They'll be okay. LDL, low density lipoprotein. There are at least two types. The big fluffies, which are benign, and the small stickies, which are problematic. I have essentially none. I have very few of the small stickies. They want you to have 547 numbers of small stickies per measure or fewer. 547 or fewer. I have fewer than 90. Sounds like Avocado Little is in the same place. Yeah. By the same token that keto won't fix everything, cholesterol is not a disease. It's an essential part of existing. Cholesterol. Without cholesterol, humans would cease to exist. But we can't be cavalier about it. Let's, do we really think that an ice cream sundae is nutritious and that's what we should be eating instead of maybe a salad with some grilled chicken and a little oil and vinegar? Now, that's not so radical, is it? Chef salad. Leave off the croutons. And don't have honey mustard dressing. A little oil and vinegar, maybe a little blue cheese. It's not radical. And it's yummy. Kay Cal writes, I have high LDL, but my doctor says my triglycerides and HDL are so amazing he is not concerned. Bravo. Brava. Same thing. I have very low triglyceride and very high HDL. And that's really what you want to look at. So good for your doctor, good for you, Kay Calla. Okay, friends, I really appreciate you guys indulging me on this sniffly Saturday. And can you hear those chicks? They are so funny. I've been sneezing, and when I sneeze, they like all run to the corner of their container and pile up on top of each other and then freeze. Like danger, danger. Which is what big chickens will do if a hawk flies overhead. They'll freeze. Okay, anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to you patrons. I really appreciate you being here. And Jell's mommy, I'm glad you're here. You're a beautiful and trim person, and you're married to a medical doctor who knows what he's doing. So I know you don't need this, but I appreciate you being part of the conversation. And thank you. I did see the pictures of your grandson. So thank you for sharing those. Avocado Little. Thanks, Casey. TTFN. And thank you. Feel better. Take care, everyone, writes Black Fire Misty. Okay, guys. Y adios a la Argentina. Ciao, Bella. See you next time.